Paul Edwards. I'm a self-published horror author, and first and foremost, a monster kid. Today I'm reading Monsters to Laugh With, issue number 1 from 1964. I thought some of you might enjoy looking through this great old monster magazine with me, just in case you don't own your own copy of Monsters to Laugh With, issue number 1 from 1964. And together we can see what kind of vintage monster goodness is in here. New first issue. Well, there couldn't be an old first issue. Monsters to Laugh With. Okay. This is one of Stan Lee's productions. He did a couple of magazines like this, where they would take real pictures from monster movies and TV shows and put joke captions on them. I realize on a video it can be hard to read print, so I'll read it out to you. So in this one, the Frankenstein monster is saying, he's all bound to a chair, and he says, there must be an easier way to stop smoking. That pretty much tells you the quality of humor you're going to be in for. Oh, this is from the alligator people. You think you've got acne? Okay, here's the title page. Monsters to Laugh With by Stan Lee. Pictorial proof that the average monster is a merry, lovable soul who could be, and sometimes is, your next door neighbor. And down in little print here, which I'm sure you probably can't read on the video, but it says price 25 cents per copy. But the cover is 30 cents per copy. Something's a ripoff. Somebody was getting an extra nickel somewhere. Okay. So here we go. Get ready to dive into a whole bunch of dad jokes. All I said was, Cassius, you're a bum. That's a pop culture reference to Cassius Clay, who people now remember better as Muhammad Ali. This is the Wolfman saying, who drank my greasy kid stuff? That's a reference from a 1950s TV commercial for Vitalis, a hair care product. A lot of these are references to things that were easily understood by the audience at the time in 1964, but their meaning has sort of been lost over the years, especially TV commercials. Here's the Werewolf of London. Mother, please, I'd rather brew it myself. No, lady, I'm not Lloyd Bridges. This is another one from a commercial. Jolly Green Giant, my eye. Keep running. Okay. Here Dracula says, this is your room. If you want anything, just scream. Pardon me while I switch positions here, because the next few pages are all going to be printed like this. Hey, where's the bathroom? I never carry more than I can afford to lose. Oh, brother. Boy, have you got athlete's foot? This one is a little funny. You and your rented tuxedos. You know, because the monster's clothes are ill-fitting. But I can't brush after every meal, says the vampire. This one did not stand the test of time well. The villagers are looking at the Frankenstein monster and they say, if you ask me, this neighborhood is getting too integrated. This, by the way, is not actually a picture from the movie itself, Bride of Frankenstein. This is a publicity still that they obviously took during production. But there's no image like this in the actual movie. It's from the same scene where he's bound to the chair that we saw on the cover, though. And this is my brother Irving. Here, Teenage Werewolf says, our group had 23% fewer cavities. This is actually not from I Was a Teenage Werewolf, though. If you look closely, this is from How to Make a Monster, which the Teenage Werewolf and the Teenage Frankenstein both appeared in. Know something, Sam? You're sick. It's nothing to be ashamed of. Lots of fellows have black heads. Smile, you're on Candid Camera. That was an old TV show. But Mommy, you said you wanted me to make new friends. What a crummy party. All the girls are slobs. This is a little funny. Yes, this is the complaint department. That's all right. That one's not so bad. I've been meaning to ask you, Clyde, who's your tailor? Remember, this is 1964. You'll never learn to twist if you don't loosen up, sweetie. But lots of fellows have beetle haircuts. It's just that little old winemaker, me. Better cut out the sweets for a while. If you've started to notice, these are the same 3 or 4 horror movies that they keep showing images from. This is also from How to Make a Monster. They've been showing images from one of the Mummy films, from How to Make a Monster, and from Frankenstein Meets the Wolfman, and a couple from King Kong versus Godzilla. My guess, I don't know this, but my guess is that for each film they took images from, they would have to pay more money. So they used as many shots as they could from each individual film that they licensed. Another one from Frankenstein Meets the Wolfman. Just a little off the top, please. Oh, I did not do this. The previous owner did this. Don't yell at me in the comments for that. Oh, now we're back to this way. Like I'm gonna buy me a new razor. Another one from King Kong versus Godzilla. Hey Sam, got any Clorettes? Breath mints. Another one from the Alligator People. Darn those harsh wash day detergents. Men, you're all alike. Okay, now this is kind of funny. That's a kind of a timeless one. See, humor like this doesn't get dated. Humor that references a TV commercial gets dated right away. But then again, you know, I'm sure in 1964, neither Stan Lee nor anybody else thought that over 50 years later, people would still be looking at these magazines. They were published for the kids of 1964. And at the time, kids would have got all of these. I'm not sure how many they would have found funny, but they would have got them all. Like this one. My name, Jose Jimenez. Okay, this is another one that didn't age well. On the Steve Allen Show, which was a variety show, you know, like The Tonight Show. On the Steve Allen Show, there was a series of skits with a guy who would come out and pretend to be a dim-witted character who was Hispanic, and he would start out his monologues by saying, my name, Jose Jimenez. Over time, people started to realize how incredibly offensive this skit was, and it was dropped. But every now and then, a reference to it will still come up. So that's what that is. At least they're closing with a better known commercial. Only my hairdresser knows for sure. You know, I'm pretty sure that Stan Lee used that same joke in another of his gag monster publications with a different monster picture. But that's a pretty good one to end it with. Oh, there's always one more, isn't there? This is mine. This is on the back cover. This is mine. You go buy your own copy of Monsters to Laugh With. Okay. Well, there you have it. The new first issue of Monsters to Laugh With. It didn't have a very long run. I can't remember off the top of my head exactly how many issues. There was more than one issue, but there were not a lot. 3 or 4 maybe, something like that. So, there you go. One of Stan Lee's attempts at monster humor. And by the way, there was a whole series of trading cards with this kind of humor in the 1960s, where there were trading cards like baseball cards, but they were printed pictures from monster movies with joke captions just like this. I should do a video on those at some point. Hey, thanks for spending some time going through my first issue from 1964 of Monsters to Laugh With. If you enjoy classic monsters and vintage horror, you'll love my book series, the Mourner's Woods books, available on Amazon.com, a series of books set in a haunted forest. All different characters in each book, so you never know who's going to survive to the end of the book. All different monsters, so there's always a new threat to be afraid of. And I sell them as cheaply as Amazon will let me, 99 cents for an ebook. They're also available in paperback and in audiobook format. Thanks for spending some time going through this great old monster magazine with me, and I will see you in Mourner's Woods.